What's up guys, Mythic Smith here, and in today's video I'm going to show you all the little things that I think the vast majority of people missed while watching the dev stream. I basically went frame by frame looking for any secrets that I could find, and honestly I'd say it paid off pretty big. I think I discovered some things that I don't see anybody talking about, even on the Discord. For example, I believe we can see that there's at least 3 different enchantments related to dragons, and there might even be a 4th one. Without further ado, let's get into the video, and remember to subscribe and ring the bell notification if you want to stay up to date on Ice and Fire 2 news. Okay, so for whatever clip or image I'm showing, I'm going to keep the timestamp in the bottom left for everyone to see. First off, we have this screen. There's a few things of interest here. I'm not going to go over every tapestry, just the ones that are of particular interest. I could probably do an entire video on the tapestries, so let me know if that's something you want to see. This tapestry is pretty important though. This is the first tease at the Dread Queen. She's definitely coming back at some point, who knows when, but I thought that I'd point it out. Also, we see the Silver Bell. We actually find out what it's called. It's actually called the Warding Bell. That's pretty interesting. And also we see the Fire Lily, and we know it's called a Fire Lily because we see that too. Another tapestry I'm going to talk about is the Ponderer. Just keep in mind that this wizard is called the Ponderer for some reason. It might mean something, it might just be an inside joke. So one thing I noticed on this page is that the ancient hilt is right between the bronze stuff and the dragonbone stuff. I think they might be hinting at something. Something I noticed is there's no witherbone anymore, so I'm thinking that the ancient hilt could be a replacement for the witherbone. And maybe they're hinting that it's made out of bronze, maybe you need to restore it with bronze, it's tough to say. The only problem with that theory is an ancient hilt makes sense for a dragonbone sword, but it doesn't really make any sense for like a dragonbone pickaxe. Next up, he scrolls down with the rest of the items, and there's quite a few things of interest on this page. The first thing I notice is the dragon horn. There's only one texture there. Now in the sprite sheet that can be found on the Discord, there's actually 3 different dragon horns. So what I'm thinking is those are different modes that the Dragonhorn can be in, like telling it to stay, telling it to follow, whether or not it's bound to a dragon, stuff like that. We also see Sickly Dragon Meal, and we can confirm later that it is called Sickly Dragon Meal. And it says right there, permanently stunts dragon growth. Now that's pretty interesting because nowadays, if you don't feed a dragon, it will stay on that growth stage. But evidently if you feed it this, then it just doesn't grow at all no matter how much you feed it. So it's kind of cool that the Sickly Dragon Meal is coming back. Another thing is that weird plant looking thing next to the dragon fruit. That is a Fire Lily bulb. That's new, before we just had Fire Lilies. But as you can see, now we have a bulb, and evidently you plant that bulb and the flower that you get is the result. We also see in this image the wizard hat. It only has 1 armor, it has 10 knowledge. We don't know what knowledge is. I've heard it's just a joke, and it doesn't actually mean anything. That would be kind of funny, but you never know, maybe it does do something. Finally, on this image, we have a music disc that's unaccounted for. Now, I know what those other 4 are, because I heard that there's 2 music discs for every dragon type. So those are the 2 fire dragon music discs, and those are the 2 music discs for the ice dragon. So there's this 5th music disc that we just don't know what it is. Finally, we know that there are 2 enchanted books at the bottom, and we can see that one of them, later on, we can see that one of them is Dragon Rin 3. Now, this is interesting because there should be more than 2 enchanted books here, and I'll show you what I mean in a second. I'm going to point out one more tapestry. This one's completely different than all the others. It's tattered, it's torn, and I can't really tell what it is, and it's called Prize. What does that look like to you? I have no idea what that is. I'll also point out these next 2 tapestries. You've got heroes, which I believe are the devs themselves. And then you've got this Dead or Alive. And what's interesting is the guy on Dead or Alive seems to also be in heroes. Next up, we've got all of the silver armor. You'll notice that the helmet and the chestplate have 1 more armor than iron. Everything else is the same as iron, so it's 2 armor points better. The Holy Aura is interesting. We don't know how many you need. If each one is 0.5, do you need all 2 to make sure that you can't get hit by like a zombie? Or is 1 enough? We'll just have to find out. Now with the silver shield, it says it strongly repels undead attacks. I don't really know what that means. We don't know how much of what they showed was the silver shield and how much was the actual armor, but I noticed that it doesn't have any holy aura. Also, it has a 25% movement speed increase while blocking, which is pretty cool. Lastly, we have the silver sword here. It has 6 attack damage and +2 against the dead. That's honestly not that great. That's only as good as a netherite sword. You could put smite 5 on a netherite sword and another one on the silver sword, and it would make no difference which one you choose. So you might as well use a flaming dragonbone sword and put smite 5 on it if you want a sword that's, specific for the undead. It's a little disappointing, but maybe in the future we can actually upgrade this in some way. Or maybe they'll just change it before release. Because I'd love to, pretend I'm playing The Witcher and have like a dedicated undead sword. But this one isn't really worth using, at least outside of the early game. Now let me show off this cool helmet mechanic. The helmet's closed, but when he opens the inventory it actually opens up, which is pretty cool. Next up we have the Dragonbone Pickaxe. It has the same attack damage as before, it's right on par with Netherite. Attack damage on pickaxe is usually correlated with their mining speed, so I believe it's going to be just as fast as a netherite pickaxe. But with the Dragon Rampage, it's actually much better. I think this is way better than a netherite pick. Once you have efficiency 5, you can keep Dragon Rampage going, and I think you're going to be able to at least insta-break stone without haste. And if you have haste too, combined with this, you can probably insta-break the Deep Slate as well. Next up we have the Dragon HUD UI here. There are 2 things. You probably noticed that the bar goes down when he fires his breath attack. But also the skull in the middle seems to be the roar cooldown, which I think is really cool. And there's a little effect when the roar goes off. Next up, we have another tapestry I want to look at real quick. It's called Back to Bug, and I think that's an elytra he's wearing. And I don't know if it means anything else, but it seems to be a reference to the Da Vinci picture, the what's it called, Da Vinci Code picture. Here he opens up the bestiary for just a second. We don't really see too much, but you can tell that there's a lot more attention to detail there. They clearly put a lot of effort into the animation. Here we see they keep calling the wizard a ponderer.
This is the Savannah wizard structure. As you can see, we've got a pondering wizard here.
They keep talking about him pondering. That's why I think it might be some kind of inside joke, but of course we remember from earlier that the tapestry for the wizard was called the Ponderer. Also, he opens up the orb for a second and you can see the text. The text is not in English, it's in the same runic writing that everything else is in. When we take a look at the wizard's trades, we see quite a few interesting things. One, you can actually buy the sapphires for the emeralds, which means they're basically just more expensive emeralds. Also, it looks like you can buy bronze scrap and dragon bones. Now, dragon bones are a lot more useful in this mod. We're going to need a lot more of them, but still, I feel like making them renewable might be a little overpowered. They should at least probably be more expensive. Or you could get rid of the sapphire trade for emeralds, and that way you'd have to actually mine sapphires to buy dragon bones. But right now, if you just have a really powerful emerald farm, you can get as many dragon bones as you want. And same with bronze scrap. This, I think, is the most interesting image that I found. He types in dragon, and 8 different enchanted books come up. Now, later on we'll see he does it again. He types in drag, and then a similar thing comes up, the same 8 books. Okay, so if those 3 are Dragon Slayer, and we know that there's 3 Dragon Rend, then we know that the one that's covered up, as well as these 2 down here, must be Dragon Rend 1 through 3. So what are these other 2? What are these 2 enchanted books right here? That's got me really curious. They must be dragon-related enchantments of some type. So it's either 1 new enchantment that has 2 levels, or 2 new enchantments at level 1 each. But what's weird is, when we looked at the items at the bottom, we only saw 2 enchanted books. So evidently they haven't been added to the creative menu yet. And this is just to show that, yes, they do not exist in vanilla. So then we have something interesting here with the Dragon Bone Meal. Did you catch that? He clicks the wheat by mistake with the Dragon Bone Meal 1 time, and it goes from the lowest growth stage all the way to the highest. That's not possible with normal bone meal. With normal bone meal, you'd have to do it from somewhere between 2 to 5 times. So it's at least a little bit more powerful, but it could be a lot more powerful even if you use it as regular bone meal. Here he actually clicks it again and we see that the text actually change over from the runic over to the English. And it translates into magic flows through a bestiary. So this is evidently the block for the bestiary, to add manuscripts to it to learn more about the mod, and of course it also functions as the workstation for the wizard. Next up we have all of the Fire Dragon scale armor, and what you'll notice is that it adds up to 22 armor points and just 2 less armor toughness. Now unless they change the vanilla formula, netherite is still better because of the armor toughness, because armor points cap at 20. But if they change the formula, then it might actually be better. Of course, the dragon scale does have the dragon breath resistance. But here's the thing. When you look at the Fire Dragon scale shield, it actually blocks everything and lets you re-release it as an attack. Also, the movement speed is even higher, it's 45%. Now my question with this is, if you're absorbing Fire Dragon breath, isn't that fire? And aren't fire dragons immune to fire? Wouldn't it be the same for ice and lightning? You're never really going to be fighting a fire dragon and something else. So I wonder how useful it's going to be to re-release the dragon breath. We'll have to see if it, converts it to a generic attack or something. Still, if it just negated all the fire breath, that would still be really good. Then we see the Flaming Dragonbone Sword. It has 0.5 attack damage more than it does in this version of the mod. And it's got some new abilities. It's got the Dragon Rampage, which I think is really good. But if you compare it to the old version, it did lose the extra damage against ice dragons. So we'll have to see if Flaming Sweep actually makes up for the fact that it's losing the +8 against ice dragons. Next up, we see all of the bronze armor stats. And it has 1 armor toughness each, which is half that of diamond. And it has a total of 21 armor points. Now, again, that extra armor point, I don't think it does anything unless they change how the formula works. It's less armor toughness than diamond, but having a 16% dodge chance probably makes it better than netherite, in my opinion. It might be situational, there might be some RNG involved, but I think overall bronze is probably better than netherite, which is why I think it's kind of weird that it's renewable. Now, as for the bronze sword, it has the same base damage as a diamond sword, but it has 50% armor piercing. Now, we'll have to see how that's coded. Is it that 3.5 of the 7 damage ignores armor completely, or is it that whatever amount of armor points you have, they're cut in half? Also, I'm curious if it can pierce through protection enchantments. And also, for the sword, I want to know if you put sharpness on it, does half of the extra damage from sharpness also have armor piercing? We're just going to have to wait and see. They say stage 5 dragons are going to have 8 armor, although that is configurable, I believe, which makes me think it's probably not that great against dragons, but it could be really strong in PvP. Still, I think in certain situations, certain mod packs, 50% armor piercing could be really strong. Here's the uses for dragon bones I was talking about. This portcullis is very expensive. You only get 2 per dragon bone. It costs a lot of dragon bones to get a ballista, and it looks like a good deal of bronze as well. If you're like me, you want to decorate your castle with these things, so you can tell they're going to be pretty expensive. Lastly, this is very expensive for a projectile. It's a dragon bone every time you fire it. Lastly, I don't know if you caught this, but it says for the dragon bone arrows that it pierces even the strongest dragon hide. Essentially, this is confirmed on the Discord. Stage 4 and Stage 5 dragons are immune to regular arrows, and so if you want to actually hurt them with a bow, you have to use the dragon bone arrows, which gives us yet another reason to have dragon bones. Next, we see he does locate point of interest, and we see 2 of them. One is Orb of Pondering, which is weird because there's that term again, Orb of Pondering. And then the other one is just the Warding Bell. So we have a tapestry that says the Ponderer. They keep making jokes about the Ponderer. And then we've got the Orb of Pondering. Again, I still just think it's an inside joke. Remember that tapestry from the trailer? I briefly mentioned, and I said it was filled with some kind of lore, and they hinted at it too in the dev stream that there's some kind of history there. It's called the Tale of the Core, which is interesting. It implies that there's some kind of story that happened deep underground. Lastly, we see some of the recipes for the dragon bone meal. That is a stage 3 dragon skull, fire dragon skull to be specific. I'm guessing on the other page there you will see the ice dragon skull with the same formula. Why stage 3? I don't really understand. I personally think all of the dragon skulls should be able to be ground into bone meal if you want to do that. And then a dragon bone turns into 3. Alright, well that's all I have for you today. Hopefully you learned something new, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button for related content. I still have quite a few more video ideas that I think you guys will really enjoy. And thank you for all the support I've received on the channel recently. You guys have been awesome. In the last 3 weeks or so, we've gone from 8 subscribers to 308. You guys have been commenting and liking and subscribing, and because of you guys, the channel has really blown up, and I just want to tell you guys that I really appreciate that. Lastly, I'm sorry this video took so long. It shouldn't have taken 2 weeks. It should have been done in like 5 days. I'm not really used to making videos like this. I usually edit gameplay. I was busy in real life. I had some technical difficulties. I made editing mistakes. Basically, a lot of little things added up that caused little delays. Well, anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.